Pioneer's 10 and 11 plaques had been visual greeting cards.
The Voyager records were messages in the audio, as well as the optical domain, and it was natural to consider whether they should also contain explicit greetings.
It is barely possible that extraterrestrial civilizations might know something of human languages, perhaps through the occasional interception of television broadcasts from our planet Earth.
At best, an extremely long shot.
But human spoken language might be of some interest. And if the record is to be a greeting, it clearly has to include a hello.
But a hello in English or in any other single language seems particularly chauvinistic.
What we're saying is that language is important here, and that we would welcome a dialogue with another civilization, elsewhere in the cosmos. Call Dr. Stephen Soter at Cornell University. All decisions were based on the assumption that there were two audiences for whom this message was being prepared: those of us who inhabit the planet Earth, and those who exist on the planets of distant stars. Since all the research and technical work on the record had to be accomplished within a period of weeks, we began with a list of the world's most widely spoken languages.
I'll send over a list of the world's most widely spoken languages.
We record the 25 most widely spoken, if we can accomplish that, and still have time, which would then try to include as many other languages as possible. Perhaps naively I felt that the most appropriate organization to say hello to the cosmos would be the United Nations. I had been invited to give an address on space exploration to the UN General Assembly, and as a result had met members of the American mission to the United Nations, as well as members of the UN Outer Space Committee.
We cannot act on our own.
The committee cannot itself initiate any action. This can be accomplished only by the national delegations.
We can act if only so instructed by the State Department.
Would act only if so requested by NASA, and with a firm guarantee by NASA that there is definitely to be a Voyager record and that any UN greetings would be included.
This posed a further dilemma.
We still reserve the right to veto your activities or to decide not to include such a record at all.
Now, when news of some of our activities leaked to the press,
The official position of NASA's Office of Public Information is that no final decision had been reached about having a record on the Voyager at all.
You have blundered in making any request directly to the UN Outer Space Committee because the Voyager Record project is now viewed in some sectors of the United Nations organizations as an enterprise, possibly resounding to the credit of the United States, and therefore to be opposed on those grounds alone.
a day or two, reserved at UN headquarters at New York City, and a delegate from each member nation dropped by UN sound studios sometime during that period to say hello in his or her native language. Half of the voices could be male and half female, to reflect the distribution of sexes on the planet Earth.
This is quite difficult. Virtually all the chiefs of delegations are male, and it is unlikely that they would delegate the privilege of saying hello to the stars to anyone.
Moreover, what if the chief of delegation was not at the United Nations on the designated day?
No, your proposal's entirely impractical, even if the US delegation were to propose it.
Indeed, even if the Secretary General were to suggest it.
Each member of the Outer Space Committee could say hello, and we send these voices to the cosmos.
The trouble with this was that the voices represented on the committee did not closely correspond to the languages most widely spoken on the planet Earth. China, for example, does not belong to the Outer Space Committee.
We will have to vote on whether to say hello, and our next meeting is in Europe in late June.
Could we not postpone the Voyager launch?
NASA's Associate Administrator for International Affairs, Arnold Frutkin's office.
I'll get the State Department to instruct the US mission to the United Nations to help with this project. And also contact the Secretary General of the United Nations, Kurt Waldheim, directly.
Kurt Waldheim speaking.
And the very next day, late in the afternoon,
A UN recording session will take place tomorrow.
there had been no prior notice. I was not told anything about the format of the greetings that would be given.
New York.
Timothy Ferris speaking. I'll attend the meeting tomorrow and let you know how it goes.
I want to be sure that the greetings are very short. The amount of time available on the Voyager record for greetings is strictly limited.
The UN Outer Space Committee assembled is not even a close approximation to the languages spoken on Earth, despite the fact that the Soviet Union, is a member of the UN Outer Space Committee, there are no Russian-speaking delegates at the meeting. I was permitted to give a short introductory briefing, asking for short greetings, but this means something quite different in the United Nations. Each delegate clearly wishes to make a speech.
Above the lakes, above the vales, the mountains and the woods, the clouds, the seas, I want to give a short message for this Voyager. Beyond the sun, beyond the ether, beyond the confines of the starry spheres.
To the extraterrestrial inhabitants of outer space,
My soul, you move with ease, and like a strong swimmer in rapture in the wave, you wing your way blithely through boundless space with virile joy unspeakable.
As you probably know, my country is situated on the west coast of the continent of Africa, a landmass more or less in the shape of a question mark in the center of our planet. We want to believe that we have you, and you are all-knowing, and perhaps possess high intelligence, and therefore can help us solve the many problems of our world here.
We saw a nebula in the telescope, a golden mist cluster we thought we saw. In larger telescopes, it could seem as the fathomless space of 1,000 suns.
I am pleased to extend to you our greetings in this way.
Our spinning thoughts made it appear to rise, high above Earth's walls, away from time and space. Our life's naivete, to other dimensions' majesty.
It is our heartiest desire that there shall be peace in the whole world,
The whole universe.
in all facets of life.
No law rules there, as in this world. There reign the world, Lord for the world of worlds. There search the sun's way, mature, and ring into the source of all the suns.
Some of these greetings were in fact quite lovely.
A multitude of suns are to be found. Each sun there beats with cosmic law in the unbearable light of greater suns. And all is clearness there, the day of days.
May the future give us the opportunity of getting together.
If you could pierce the boundaries of earth and sky, then do it, and you will do it with authority.
As interesting as these notices were, they were clearly too long to be included in their entirety, and we were forced to make a representative selection of them.
Be sure to include at least some words from each speech by each member of the Outer Space Committee.
As the Secretary General of the United Nations, an organization of 147 member states who represent almost all of the human inhabitants on the planet Earth, I send greetings on behalf of the people of our planet. We step out of our solar system into the universe seeking only peace and friendship, to teach if we are called upon, and to be taught if we are fortunate. We know full well that our planet and all its inhabitants are but a small part of the immense universe that surrounds us, and it is with humility and hope that we take this step.
Would it be appropriate to have remarks by the UN Secretary General on board the Voyager spacecraft, an American space vehicle, if there were no such comparable remarks by the President of the United States?
I'll call the President's science advisor, Dr. Press.
I promise to put the question to the President and give you a rapid response. The President would like to consider such a message.
This Voyager spacecraft was constructed by the United States of America. We are a community of 240 million human beings among the more than 4 billion who inhabit the planet Earth. We human beings are still divided into nation states, but these states are rapidly becoming a single global civilization. We cast this message out into the cosmos. It is likely to survive 1 billion years into our future, when our civilization may be profoundly altered and the surface of the Earth may be vastly changed. Of the 200 million stars in the Milky Way galaxy, some, perhaps many, may have inhabited planets and spacefaring civilizations. If one civilization intercepts the Voyager and can understand these written contents, here is our message. This is a present from a small and distant world, a token of our sounds, our science, our images, our music, our thoughts, and our feelings. We are attempting to survive our time so we may live into yours We hope someday, having solved the problems that we face, to join a community of galactic civilizations. This record represents our hope and our determination and our goodwill in this vast and awesome universe.
We are concerned that the separation of powers in the US Constitution might imply that if the president could greet the stars, so must the representatives of the legislative branch of the government. It is essential to include on the record at least the names of a large number of senators and representatives.
Especially those whose committees had cognizance of NASA activities.
This part of the Voyager record is without doubt a signal to down here rather than to up there.
A special Honeywell 5600C recorder was lent to us by the manufacturer to transcribe the recordings into the proper format for the record. The addition of this new information requires re-borrowing the Honeywell recorder and flying down to Boulder again.
Dan Midler.
I'll fly with it. But the recorder is so rare and the timescale so short that we cannot take the risk of having it sent in the baggage section of the airplane. Could we reserve a seat for it?
It turns out that the airlines has difficulty coping with the concept of a seat for a piece of equipment. Hello, yes, I'd like to reserve a seat for an individual named Mr. Equipment. Yes, he is under the age of 10. Oh, he's able to fly half fare.
The outer space community's greetings proved to be such a poor representation of the languages spoken on the Earth that emergency measures had to be instituted.
Throw a cocktail party in Washington for members of various ambassadorial delegations.
Another diplomatic round with the ponderous bureaucratic machinery.
Cornell University.
We contacted various members of the Cornell's foreign language departments who cooperated with us on very short notice and provided us with numerous speakers, even though school was coming to an end and many people were leaving for summer vacations. The greetings were recorded in 2 sessions in the administration building of Cornell University. We felt it was fitting that the Voyager greet the universe as a representative of one community, albeit a complex one, consisting of many parts. The greetings are an oral gestalt in which each culture is a contributing voice in the choir. After all, by sending a spaceship out of our solar system, we are making an effort to rise above our nationalistic interests and join a commonwealth of spacefaring societies. Essentially, all of the elements mentioned are contained in the 55 salutations, each one of which is spoken in a different language. The speakers were chosen because of their fluency in the language, not because of any special scientific knowledge. They were given no instructions as to what to say, other than it was to be a greeting to possible extraterrestrials, and that it must be brief.
While one person was being recorded, the others waited in a connecting office just outside the studio. I left the audio speakers in the office on so that the people who were about to record could actually hear the voices of the people in the studio. This led to a warm feeling of excitement and camaraderie among the participants.
Hoping to make contact, we call out into the vastness of space. Cupping our hands to our mouths, we shout, "Hello out there! Is anybody home?"
Hello to everybody from this earth in Quechua language.
Welcome home. It's a pleasure to receive you.
Dear Turkish-speaking friends, may the honors of the morning be upon your heads.
Be healthy. I greet you.
We greet you.
Hail!
Oh, great ones!
May all be well. May all be very well.
Good day
Good night, ladies and gentlemen.
to the entire world.
Goodbye and see you next time.
Greetings
from a
from
computer programmer
a human being
in the little university town of Ithaca
on the planet Earth. Please contact.
Hi, how are you?
Are you well?
Wish you
Peace on you.
health,
And happiness to all.
We, the inhabitants of this earth, send our greetings to you.
The inhabitants
All peoples
of the universe. From the third planet, the Earth, of the star, the sun.
God give you peace always.
Heartfelt
greetings to everyone.
To all.
To you, whoever you are,
We in this world send
have
you
goodwill
our
towards you and bring peace across space.
Hello to everyone.
From the children of planet Earth.
We are happy here and you be happy there.
How are you people of other planets?
Welcome creatures from beyond the outer world.
Friends of space, how are you all?
Hope everyone's well. We are thinking about you all.
Have you eaten yet?
Please come here to
Visit us
when you
if you have time.
Hello.
To the residents of far skies.
How are you?
Let there be peace everywhere.
To all those who exist in the universe.
Dear friends,
We're
we are
sending you greetings from our world.
In the Hungarian language to all peace-loving beings in the universe.
On behalf of Canada's speaking people,
The people from this earth send you their
good wishes.
Best wishes from the Higu-speaking people.
Wishing you happiness,
We wish you everything good.
good health, and many years.
we wish you all the best.
From our planet.
Greetings.
To everybody.
To our friends in the stars.
To you, whoever you are, we come in friendship to those who are friends.
We wish that we will meet you someday.
Sincerely send you our friendly greetings.
Greetings from the inhabitants of this world.
We greet you, great ones.
We wish all of you well.
Good health now and forever.
We wish you longevity.
Many greetings and wishes.
Best wishes to you all.
Wishing you a peaceful future from the Earthlings.
Roger Payne of Rockefeller University is a zoologist who has performed important studies on great whales. From a small boat, he has trailed hydrophones beneath the surface of the ocean and recorded the haunting songs of the humpback and other whales.
These songs are true communication among the whales when they are so far apart that they cannot see or smell each other. And that one particular kind of song is used as a greeting among the humpback whales.
So as to leave no hint of provincialism amongst the greetings from the UN delegations, we mix these characteristically human greetings with the characteristic hellos of the humpback whale, another intelligent species from the planet Earth sending greetings to the stars. If you had the opportunity to send a greeting to another sentient being living on another world, what would you convey in the brief seconds you would be allowed to speak? Would your message be a general one, expressing goodwill from everyone here to everyone there? Or would it be a message from you as an individual? Would it sound like the regards one sends a distant relation? Or would the tone be warm and effusive? Perhaps you would be most comfortable with a formal greeting, one set in tradition. Or would you just send the basics? Hi there, we don't bite. What's it like where you are? Yours truly, Earth. But what if there is no reply? How sad it would be if our cosmic yoo-hoo echoed through the canyon of space and reached no one on the other side of the chasm. All we would hear would be our own grief.
The world's music, from the sun chants of ancient Egypt and the celestial orchestra of the Buddhists, to the frequency in which the words moon and stars crop up in Western popular songs, is dotted with themes inspired by the sight of the night skies when the sun withdraws and we are permitted to view the broader scheme of things. 87.5 minutes of music were dispatched to the stars aboard Voyager, as if in token payment against this debt of inspiration. We wanted to send music of a quality compatible with the elegance of such a heritage, and with enough diversity to hint at the diversity of Earth's peoples.
In the service of this ambition, we established 2 criteria.
Contributions from a wide range of cultures should be included, not just music familiar to the society that launched the spacecraft.
Nothing should be included out of merely dutiful concerns. Every selection should touch the heart as well as the mind.
If we don't send things we passionately care for, why send them at all?
But what music? How can we send something representative of the music of the planet Earth, with its full range of emotional tone and cultural diversity, in such a limited time?
I'd like to stress the importance of including complete musical selections rather than fragments.
I would send the complete works of Johann Sebastian Bach, but that would be boasting.
We can include a couple of pieces by the same composer, or a number of pieces of the same kind, such as the fugue. It would illuminate our music and our intent.
Maybe we could include some Bob Dylan?
But would the music stand if the words were incomprehensible?
We must include ethnic music, even at the expense of Western classical music. The different stages of the social, economic, and technological development of civilization are reflected by certain styles of music. Hunter music, gatherer music, agricultural music, and so on.
It might be possible to communicate something of the evolution of human civilization through musical motifs alone.
If we cut the record at 16 revolutions per minute rather than 33, we'll triple the amount of time available for music. But everything has to be chosen and assembled in less than 2 months.
In soliciting suggestions, we found ourselves in a position of saying that we were putting together a record that would last 1 billion years, but needed ideas today.
Now, let's see if I got this straight. You're calling me up at 11 o'clock on a Sunday night at home to ask me which jazz to send to the stars?
That's the gist of it.
Miles Davis's version of Gershwin's Summertime. Include a Navajo night chant and 3 pieces from the African American musical tradition. Perhaps Louis Armstrong's Melancholy Blues.
Sri Kesabai Kerkas Jataka Hanho is at the top of my list of world music for outer space.
It's an old recording, recently gone out of print. I've hunted through a score of record stores without any success. We have 3 days in which to complete the repertoire. What happens if we can't find a copy of this one in time?
Keep looking.
You've got to give me the name of a piece that we can fall back on. What's the next best thing?
There's nothing close. Keep looking.
I started phoning Indian restaurants.
There's an appliance store on Lexington Avenue in New York City, owned by an Indian family. I found these under a card table in a dusty brown carton with 3 unopened copies of Jacket.
We wanted to send Here Comes the Sun by the Beatles, and all 4 Beatles gave their approval.
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, yes. Yes, but we don't own the copyright.
Each selection to be included would have to have a copyright release because the International Copyright Convention restricts the reproduction of a piece of music for any purposes whatever, including extraterrestrial purposes. We want to be completely sure that we're abiding by the Copyright Convention in every conceivable detail.
So the Voyager was launched to the stars without them.
Great care was taken with all of the musical selection in an attempt to be as fair and representative as possible in terms of geographical, ethnic, and cultural distribution, the style of music, and connection with other selected pieces.
We are concerned that no Irish music has been included in the record. The Speaker of the House of Representatives is of Irish descent, and we do not want to give unwanted offense.
There are many ethnic groups, unfortunately, unrepresented. There is, for instance, no Italian opera or Jewish folk music. So no, it's too late to include Danny Boy.
Let us not be afraid of the supreme contrapuntal sciences of the fugues, nor be overawed by the stern appearance and heavy wake of Father Bach. Let us gather around him, feel the love, the noble goodness that flows from each of his phrases, and that invigorate and bind us to tie strong and warm.
He's a nearly universal composer, at least in earthly terms. 3 of his compositions went about the Voyager.
The fugue skate is like a well-trained thoroughbred, able to run, but prepared to drop short at a command.
Like the tune composition on the Voyager record, Bach's 6 sonatas and partitas for solo violin challenge a solitary musician working with a somewhat recalcitrant instrument to create music that opens out to the horizons. In the success of composer and performer, national boundaries fade, so that in this piece, for example, the influence of the French music upon the theme and of Italian technique upon the method of playing are absorbed and transform into music that almost supersedes nationality.
At first sight, the gamelan, the word means orchestra, chiefly bell and gong tones, resembles rain in slow motion. Increase the tempo and the rain turns to wind. Western interest in the gamelan dates back to 1899, when Claude Debussy heard one in Paris.
I can detect no rhythm in this piece whatsoever.
The words, sung with unstrained gusto, resemble 2 of 9 sorts of flowers symbolic in Javanese Hinduism of the 9 rasas or moods.
In 1963 is one to accompany fieldwork. Listening to it calls to mind a line from the Li Ti, the 1st century AD Chinese book on music. Music creates joy. Man cannot exist without joy, and joy cannot exist without
Out of the enslavement of Africans arose a strain of music in America that has captured the affection of the 20th. He was blinded by his stepmother, who in a rage dashed the pen of light in his face when he was 7 years old. His mid-20s found him surviving on the streets of Dallas on the strength of his guitar playing and powerful voice. Johnson recorded Dark Was Night. Louis Armstrong made a series of recordings that were to transform jazz. It is difficult to find a more influential 20th century musician in any field.
Africans were accustomed to using their instruments in a talking fashion, making them speak. And Louis, of all the great musicians, was the one who actually sang through his horn. He changed the whole technique of instrumental playing in the West forever.
Barry was helping to invent
The bamboo flute, known as the shakuhachi, came to Japan, as did many things, from China. The ideal behind Japanese solo music is to produce a broad range of effects from a minimum of ingredients. The music is not annotated and there is ample room for improvisation. In this piece, the titular subject is the affection of cranes for their offspring. Some listeners find the flute's bird-like cry appropriate to the Voyager's lonely flight through space.
The Magic Flute, Mozart's last opera, premiered September 30th, 1791, just less than 3 months before his death at age 25.
I am not certain to what extent the choice was conscious, but in selecting music that would go aboard a spacecraft to sail in interstellar darkness, we found that we had included 4 pieces on the theme of night. Blind Willie Johnson's Dark Was the Night, the Navajo Night Chant, the Aboriginal Song of the Morning Star, and This Mozart.
National program intended to encourage folk musicians. The song accuses original Prince of injustice to its peasants, then asserts that the ordinary people will set things right.
I suspect that shepherds created much of our European tune stock. They had plenty of time and a captive audience.
The Rites of Spring represents a raid upon a zone of imagination that developed when our ancestors lived in societies we now elect to call primitive. The idea came to Stravinsky in a dream, a pagan ritual in which a chosen sacrificial virgin danced herself to death. As he recorded, the reception afforded the work at its premiere in Paris in 1913 is history. The dancers couldn't hear the orchestra for the catcalls. The musical press termed the composition hideous and barbaric. It reminded us of how much we owe to the people we have forgotten.
Played. I thought it was your birthday. How I was a fool.
The traditional music of Melanesia, a 115-mile-long island in the Solomon Islands of the Pacific, is disappearing. A sad story echoed in many parts of the world. For years, Christian missions have discouraged its performance, encouraging younger islanders to think of it as old-fashioned, a doctrine that still persists in some quarters today. For decades, colonial powers have repeated to the Melanesians that any ancestral customs are scornful.
The two song excerpts that appear on the Voyager record were recorded by Holmes in 1958 on the Crocodile Islands of Arnhem Land, the largest of Australia's Aboriginal reservations, an expanse of 31,200 square miles in the Northern Territory. The rights of Aboriginals seek to placate nature, to ask that the days and seasons proceed in a reasonably predictable and moderate fashion.
From the island of New Guinea comes another sample of ancient tribal music. This played on two large hardwood horns. At ceremonial feasts, the men put on displays of aggressive singing and dancing. The thunder of their choirs and stamping feet can be heard miles away. The dancers put on elaborate shoulder and head decorations of leaves and feathers, sometimes rising 10 or 15 feet into the air, like trees waving in the wind. The design of these costumes match Picasso or Matisse. Now, when the ceremony is over, all are discarded, thrown into the river to make way for next year's creations. These people are fantastic artists.
Qing notation lists over 100 ways to stop the strings with the fingers of the left hand. Each has acquired poetic ornamentation accumulated over 100 generations of teachers. One medium slow vibrato, known as the fading sound of a temple bell, is annotated to remind the musicians that his fingers on the string should oscillate like falling blossoms floating downstream. A particular three-fingered chord, followed by a flourish, is the sound a fish makes when leaping out of the water. A technique used to stop the string with the back of the first joint of the fourth finger is called a penta grasping something. Harmonics are to be played as lightly as dragonflies alighting on the water, and a staccato plucking at a single string is called cold ravens picking in the snow.
The word raga means mood, color, or passion. And in the classical music of India, as in that of other societies, much thought has been devoted to how music can be preserved for posterity without losing its passion or immediacy. But for complexity of dialogue between performer and audience, and between tradition and innovation, no music surpasses that of India.
Children sing the theme of the first movement of Beethoven's Fifth. The Allies used it in propaganda broadcasts during the Second World War, and it has been made into a best-selling pop record. But its familiarity cannot be expected to trouble the extraterrestrial listeners for whom the Voyager record was intended. And it doesn't bother us much here on Earth either. Now, the word compose means to place things in their proper order, to fix them, and further up the tree of etymology, to take a stand on behalf of the result. This is what I think Beethoven meant when, leaving the performance of a work by another artist, he remarked, "I must compose that." He meant that there was something there, but the composer had failed to assemble it, hold it up, stand by it. Beethoven wrote this at a heartbreaking time, less than 2 months before his death. He inscribed below the 8 bars of his most wrenching passage the word beklemmt, meaning afflicted or oppressed. We who are living the drama of human life on earth do not know what measure of sadness or hope is appropriate to our existence. We do not know whether we're living in a tragedy or a comedy or some great adventure. The dying Beethoven had no answers to these questions and knew he had none, and had learned to live without them. In the Cavatina, he invites us to stare this situation in the face.
When the masters had been cut, an engineer etched into the space between the lead-out grooves near the center a dedication written a month before on the back of a manila envelope during one of our listening sessions. To the makers of music, all worlds, all times. We do not know whether human music may mean anything to non-human listeners, but any creature who comes across the Voyager and recognizes the record as an artifact will realize there was dispatched with no hope of return. And this gesture may speak more clearly than music.
However primitive we are, however crude our spacecraft, we knew enough to envision ourselves citizens of the cosmos.
However small we were, something in us was large enough to want to reach out to discoverers unknown in times when we shall have perished or changed beyond recognition.
Whoever and whatever you are, we too once lived in this house of stars, and we thought of you.
Voyager has been compared to a message in a bottle tossed into the void of the sky. Whether it will ever be found by someone walking along a galactic beach will not be known by our generation. our distant progeny will have that to look forward to.
Under a sun-drenched Florida sky, a few hundred people gathered, outfitted with special gear for the occasion. Sunglasses, cameras, binoculars, to watch the Voyager rise from Earth in a blast of white light, a puff of sunset-colored smoke, and a sky-splitting roar.
Beings elsewhere might think as we do, or better. They may be better poets or engineers or philosophers. They could have superior moral or aesthetic standards, but they will not be human beings, or anything even close. And yet, there is an argument, perhaps it is only a hope, that we might be able to communicate with representatives of such exotic civilizations, because they, like we, must come to grips with the same laws of physics and chemistry and astronomy. They would wonder about us. They would know that 60,000 years is a long period of time in the history of civilizations. They would recognize the tentativeness of our society, its tenuous acquaintance of technology and wisdom together. Had we destroyed ourselves, or had we gone on to greater things? Some of the Voyager music intentionally expresses a kind of cosmic loneliness, which would perhaps be communicated across the expanse of light years and the differences in evolutionary histories. But one thing would be clear about us. No one sends such a message on such a journey to other worlds and beings without a positive passion for the future. For all the possible vagaries of our message, they could be sure that we were a species endowed with hope and perseverance. At least a little intelligence, substantial generosity, and a palpable zest to make contact with the cosmos.